The Raging Cajun says Democrats need to go back to school.
Are we really going to do this? Are we really going to? We just got clobbered with young people. We got clobbered by males. We got clobbered by identity politics. And you're going to wade right back into this? Jesus Christ, has anybody ever learned anything? If we're going to chase every god 25-year-old that says some thing out of the party and under the grounds of some allocated positions based on gender or ethnicity or whatever the they do, we're just doing the same thing. We never learn.
Wow.
We never learn.
Carville used to know how to win, but you can't win with Democrats who hate men. And they're starting to hate Nancy. At least she kept them disciplined. But Hakeem doesn't want anything to do with her because he doesn't like women bossing him around.
I was hearing from leadership staff that the leadership on Capitol Hill right now wants to sort of move away from that Pelosi era, that they want to, that they don't want to embrace anyone or anything that's like Pelosi, which I just think is the dumbest SHIT
That's
ever.
crazy.
Members don't want any Pelosi. She's the baddest in the business. We actually landed punches. We actually won 40 seats. I'm just surprised that they're not calling everybody that has landed some punches on Trump, asking for the best advice.
If Nancy didn't have a busted hip and the coup goo sticking to her, she'd be the tip of the spear. But Hakeem's had it with her, and he'd rather do sit-ins and sing-alongs with his boy Booker. Pelosi says Hakeem has a big head.
So I'm not sure why they're not drawing on her more often. But it's probably an ego thing. I mean, I hate to say it. And part of the challenge, too, is, people want to establish themselves.
Right.
And how do you establish yourself if you have, and also, too, Pelosi, I can imagine, I've not seen her much since she stepped down. It's hard to be a boss and not be the boss.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to bring somebody like her into the room and she not take over the whole strategy.
Pelosi thinks Hakeem's off message, undisciplined, and 100 days in, she's giving him and the whole party a C+. Hakeem's about to flunk out of school. But Kamala's getting her groove back.
Have you learned the boots on the ground dance yet?
I have not. You know what? I know. Will you teach me?
I will.
Okay, I'm serious. We can do it together.
You serious?
I'm very serious.
Okay, we will get this after that.
All right,
Sway. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now cross. All right, there we go.
Trump's got the YMCA and Harris has whatever you call that. The White House says keep dancing.
I think I speak for everyone at the White House. We encourage Kamala Harris to continue going out and do speaking engagements.
Obama's still playing puppet master. First Clooney. Now he's sending Van Jones out to find one black voter who says, I should have listened to Barry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this next one.
She said yes. It's immediately yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
1,000% absolutely yes.
No one really thinks Kamala can run again. Even the media is admitting she's a fraud. Remember when 60 Minutes hacked up her interview? Well, they're getting nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Edited Interview Award. I'm serious. They had to carry her, and now they're giving each other awards for it. CNN's warning Democrats, stay away. She's trouble.
It's not just about regretting that vote. It's literally saying who would be doing the better job right now. And Trump continues to score a higher percentage of the vote than Kamala Harris. It's not even close. It's an 8-point advantage, which in this politics, well, that's a wide ocean.
It's huge and maybe tells the Democrats that their messaging is not working.
Democrats don't have the cards. And 100 days in, they still don't know how to deal with Trump. They're shacking up with MS-13 and Steven Spielberg's so ashamed he stopped helping them produce videos. Watch.
I'd rather have 100 bad haircuts than to deal with 100 days of Donald Trump.
I'd rather have 100 vaccination shots in my arm.
I would rather have to take 100 scammer calls than go through the last 100 days.
I would rather sit on Interstate 84 in a traffic jam for 100 hours.
I'd rather cook 100 family meals, and believe me, my kids are going to find this very funny, than 100 days of Trump.
Democrats are getting laughed at in newsrooms. And late nights trying to make this guy Pritzker a thing, cooking up nicknames that Trump should have given him.
All right, you ready? Here's the list. JB Pizza. I like this. JB Back Ribs.
JB Back Ribs. Could be a song with that, too, you know?
J Biggie. JB the Hut. J Pritz his pantsker. Pritz Crackers, Governor Big Shorts, and JB the Refrigerator Pritzker.
Now that's a pretty good one.
No one's hungry for JB Back Ribs. Although Jazzy's a little more appetizing, not to be confused with Davy Crockett, says it feels like Trump's trying to kill her.
Same thing as it relates to the planes that are falling out of the sky.
Right.
We need some real transparency, and we need some honesty, and we need to make sure that the American people are just as enraged as we all should be, because this administration is truly trying to kill us, it feels like.
Trump's not the one with blood on his hands. He didn't open the border and let killers in. The only person who's confident is crooked.
At the end of the day, we will defeat these people by winning elections. I mean, even if we win every court case, we still have to figure out how to get that enforced. Even if the press does lots of exposés, you're dealing with an administration that has no shame. They don't care that they are, being seen as corrupt or cruel or whatever. That is kind of the brand.
Democrats shouldn't take advice from Hillary. Bill maybe, not Hillary. House liberals they don't even want to wait until the next election. They're ready to impeach. But one House Democrat said, the guy got impeached twice. How did it work out for us? Democrats learn nothing. They're just getting dirtier. Look at what they're doing to Fetterman. Today, New York Magazine dropped a bomb, saying his staff thinks he's mentally unfit and can't do the job. They say he's erratic and impossible to work for. That's funny. We think Fetterman's been making more sense than ever. It's no secret Democrats didn't like when he went to Mar-a-Lago, and apparently he was considering voting for Hegseth. Oh my God, that was the last straw. Now they're leaking that Fetterman's catatonic, can barely string two sentences together, walks around his office in tight loops, and engages in risky behavior like FaceTimes texts and reads news articles while driving. Well, I think we're all guilty of that. They're also reporting that his staff took away his social media passwords and were engaged in secret conversations with his doctor behind his back. Fetterman denies all of this and says they're quoting disgruntled staffers. Kind of sounds like they're trying to 25th Amendment him. The only Democrat who speaks his mind. The only one with a shred of independence. What does it say about the Democratic Party that they can't tolerate a single senator not towing the party line?
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.